Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and I'm going to be frank right off the bat. I owe you guys one. I owe you guys a couple of videos. I've kind of taken a break, a little bit of a hiatus these past, I don't know, must be like 2 weeks at this point, but back with a bang. We're going to recap the week of the NFL that I missed and then make my picks for what's left of week six. So, yes, we were treated last Thursday, 2 Thursdays ago at this point, to one of the games of the year. Atlanta pulling off a huge win, not just because of the fact that they were at home, but two exceptional quarterbacks at the top of their game, dealing everyone putting up touchdowns left and right. Um, a comeback. I think Tampa did kind of give this game away late. Uh, yeah, but huge in terms of the NFC South. Now Atlanta moves into first place. They kind of have this temporary tiebreaker over Tampa. Then the Jets played in London, looked terrible. Aaron Rodgers uncharacteristically threw 3 picks. Still not really on the same page with his wideouts, Alan Lazard and Mike Williams. A couple of routes that they were going one place and Aaron was like throwing it someplace else. So they really need to clean that up. And then what do you know? They fire Robert Saleh. Tough game for my Jets. And then Caleb Williams' best game as a professional. Tossed a couple touchdowns, I believe, to DJ Moore. DJ Moore is probably asserting himself as his favorite target right now. Deservedly so. He's a veteran. He's seen it all, and um, yeah, they trounced Carolina there. And then, man, this game was exceptional. This game was also one of the best games we've seen in the NFL this season. You know, just two other quarterbacks, this time in the AFC, dueling, scoring touchdowns left and right, moving up and down the field. How did Baltimore win this game? Um, just the moxie, the the playmaking ability of Lamar Jackson, which is unprecedented. You've never seen somebody move the way he does. Obviously, he's not as gifted of a thrower as other quarterbacks in this league, but he's one of one for sure. He's one of one, and this loss really stings for Cincinnati. They forced that turnover in overtime because Baltimore won the toss. There's no excuse for Cincinnati to not win that game. You force a turnover. You're in good field position. What you can't do is take the ball out of your quarterback's hands on 3 straight plays. Joe was dealing that entire game. He's been playing great all year, but really bad play calling. It looked like from Zach Taylor there. You know, um, I understand you want to run the football, make it easier on your kicker, but the best way to do that is to complete a pass, gain some yards that way. T. Higgins and Jamar Chase were unguardable for the Ravens secondary, so that's going to sting for sure. That's going to sting for Cincinnati. Now they're 1-4, and I think I said this a couple weeks ago in my last video. If they play perfect football for a month, go 4-0 over the course of the month, at this point they're just going to be 5-4. That's brutal. That's brutal. They're in a really tough spot. That was a game they had to win, a game they should have won. Um, Ugly affair here in New England. Two bad teams, two teams without a quarterback. Um, Now Drake May is starting. He's finally getting the nod. And once again, I do apologize for not making these picks and not really being in touch with the NFL for the past week. I do apologize, and I hope from here on out it's smooth sailing. I didn't watch too much of this one, but I just know Joe Flacco was dealing. Joe Flacco made a lot of big plays, got Indianapolis back into the game because Jacksonville almost squandered another lead. But, I think Indy would have loved to win that game, would have loved to not let Jacksonville get their first win of the season, but it happens. And then, good game, but Josh Allen went 9 for 30. That's my takeaway from this one. Um, Yeah, I think they really need a separator. I think they need a guy who can win on the outside. Because who's challenging these corners? Who's challenging these safeties? I don't see anyone on the outside, anyone in the skill position group that can challenge these guys, especially when they don't have Khalil Shakir. But still, even with him, I don't see anyone who's challenging the Derek Stingleys and the Sauce Gardners and the Pat Surtains. I don't see it. And I think Josh might need it. Uh, Jaden Daniels and that offense continue to roll. Cleveland is not functional. Deshaun Watson's not an NFL starting caliber quarterback right now. Same can be said for Gardner Minshew. Now they're turning the page to Aiden O'Connell down there in Vegas for the Raiders. Bo Nix is making some strides, but I don't think they've really faced any stiff competition too much at this point. So um, yeah, that's all I'm going to say about Denver at this point. Good win for them. Excruciating loss for my Jets 2 weeks ago against Denver, 10-9, 10-9 final score. They should have won that game easily. And then we have, wow, this one was a an upset, right? Arizona going into San Francisco, winning that game. Divisional games are always closer. Kyler's a really good quarterback when he's on, when he's focused. He can move the ball on any defense, really. And then Brock, I think, well, Brock just played yesterday, so I'll save my comments on him for a little bit later. Yeah, the Rams are depleted, not healthy enough, and then Green Bay found a way to win a game. Big win for them. Really ugly loss for Seattle. Um, at home, the Giants are traveling from very, very far. Daniel Jones is. I'm not sure if Malik Neighbors played in this game. I think he's banged up now. I'm not sure if he did in this one, but either way, that's a game Seattle should win if they really want to be considered, you know, an upper echelon contender. Dallas on the final play of the game, give Dak credit, give Mike McCarthy credit for hanging in there and getting a big win. And then Mahomes didn't throw a touchdown, threw a pick, threw for more than 300 yards, kind of got on the same page with Travis Kelce, and they're 5-0. Yeah, I think not much more you can say about the Chiefs than has already been said, but now they're going into their bye week at 5-0. It's got to be a good feeling. So that was last week, week 5. Now in week 6. Yes, I did miss and I did not make a pick for yesterday's week 6 Thursday night football matchup. Yeah, San Francisco played really well. Brock made some big throws, especially to like George Kittle outside the numbers to score a touchdown. Credit to him. And that running game looks like you can put anyone in there at that running back position and they're going to put up numbers. So good game for San Francisco. This one's interesting. Oh, this isn't. Why is this spread not on here, guys? I apologize. Can I change it to spread? Oh, this is brutal. I just realized the spread is not here. It might be this one that. Oh, right. There we go. Okay. Plus 2.5 for Jacksonville looks enticing, but I don't know if I can trust them. Their defense is brutal, abysmal, but they are a little bit more accustomed to playing in London. I don't think Trevor Lawrence and this offense are that bad. Oh, man, this is tough. This is actually tough. I'm a fan of both quarterbacks. Could be a big one for either, for both teams. The Bears could go 4-2. Jacksonville can kind of feel like they have another shot at life if they win this game. I'm going to go with Jacksonville plus 2.5 here. This line was 5 earlier, or according to DraftKings, it might still be 5. Somebody can check that for me, but I'm going to go with Green Bay at home. I think I've been picking a lot of Green Bay this season. I like LaFleur. I really do. He's a great offensive mind. And if Jordan Love just like stays within himself, doesn't make the big mistake, um, and with all those weapons, I think they can put up like 30, 34 on this team. So Arizona is not good defensively. I think they're still kind of like coming off that emotional win on the road against San Francisco. I like Green Bay in this spot. Oh, this is odd. I only get a half point to go against Will Levis. Yeah, that feels like a gimme, a free pick there. New England plus 6.5. No Nico Collins. I'm actually going to go with New England in this spot. No Nico Collins feels big to me. I think Houston's offense kind of started to sputter in the second half last game against Buffalo. They almost lost that game after Nico Collins went out. Um, yeah, I think New England can surprise some people. They're going to be really galvanized and motivated with Drake May getting into that starting lineup. Okay, and then this one's interesting. Yeah, I think the smart thing is to go with Tampa minus 2.5. They can win by a field goal easily. I don't care if it's on the road. Spencer Rattler's going to really have to play like out of his mind to win this game. Tampa's defense is for real. They're well coached. I know they just got humiliated against Atlanta last week, but they've had like a mini bye, a little bit more rest. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Baker, they're going to put up numbers in that dome. So I like Tampa in this spot. I think if they lose or if they don't cover this, it might be a little bit because of the distraction of the hurricane and all that chaos that's going on, the natural disasters in Florida. But I think they're good enough to overcome that. Ooh, that's a lot of points. Um, I'll go with Cleveland here to keep it within a touchdown. You know, Philly's definitely going to win this game. That's a guarantee. But Cleveland's also like fighting for their season at this point, so I don't expect them to just get run out of the yard like that, run out of the stadium. This is interesting. I'm going to go with Baltimore here. Okay, we know these are two high-flying offenses. Jaden Daniels is getting comparisons to Lamar Jackson because of, his dual threat abilities. He can run, he can pass long passes. But Lamar, what I've seen from him this season, this past game, he's on another level right now. And if I had to pick one defense that could, kind of figure it out over the course of this past week, look at film, um, hit the practice field a lot, I'm going to go with Baltimore. It's just they have bigger names on that defensive side of the ball. Marlon Humphrey, Kyle Hamilton, Madubuike on that defensive line, Kyle Van Noy, Roquan Smith. So this defense on paper is better on paper than Washington's defense. I know both defenses are kind of struggling, but I like Baltimore in this spot. I think they're significantly better than Washington. Not to say that Washington isn't a good team, because they're off to a hot start, but Baltimore is one of the best teams in the league. Plus, this game's definitely going to be close. I think it's going to be ugly and pretty low scoring, but something is sticking out to me about the Chargers. Off a bye, I trust Jim. He's a good coach. He's cerebral. He knows how to get his guys ready for these games. You know, I think they might confuse Bo Nix a little bit against a pretty good defense. If they get, I assume Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack are going to play. They're going to wreak some havoc there, but just keep the ball on the ground. Ball control. If you're the Chargers, that's the name of the game. I think they can win this game by a field goal for sure. I'm gonna go with the Raiders. I just don't like what I see from Pittsburgh's offense. It's just really tough to watch. You know, these guys, they can't really move the ball. I think they want to win every game like 21-17, 23-20, something like that. Keep the ball, take the air out of the ball, make the game ugly. TJ Watt's a game record, but so is Max Crosby. So, um, yeah, Pittsburgh might very well win this game, but I like 2.5. The Raiders at home there. I love Detroit in this spot. Off a bye, running game. Dallas, kind of an emotional game last week. Dallas hasn't really beaten anyone good this year. They beat Cleveland, they just beat Pittsburgh, and they beat the New York Giants. So Detroit is much better than all three of those teams rested, and I think they make a statement. Carolina plus 6.5. Atlanta hasn't shown the ability to blow out a team yet. On the road, Carolina, divisional opponent. I think that game's going to stay a little bit closer than people expect. And Cincinnati is definitely going to pull away. Prime time, Joe's going to be angry. Joe's going to be desperate for a win. The whole team's going to be desperate for a win. And I think they get it against Daniel Jones. And I'm going to go with the Jets plus 2.5. Every team kind of gets a boost when they make a big change, whether that be a quarterback, whether that be a head coach. This team just fired Robert Saleh. Aaron Rodgers has his hands up, saying he wasn't involved whatsoever. Do I trust him? Absolutely, I do. He's never been a quarterback that's really like lovey-dovey with his head coach. He's never been enamored with his head coach, I can say. I can say that with a good deal of confidence. I don't think he was ever enamored with Mike McCarthy. I think there were some things he didn't like about LaFleur. And there's certainly a lot to dislike about Robert Saleh, especially considering the fact that, Saleh doesn't really have an offensive expertise. He's not one of those guys that can draw up plays and, get the offense moving, get the offense out of a tough spot like a Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan. I know his expertise is on the defensive side of the ball. He was a defensive coordinator for the 49ers, and I don't think that's what the Jets need right now. Jeff Ulbrich just changed play calling duties. Those no longer belong to Nat Hackett, which is a good thing. I think Aaron also acknowledged, hey, let's take some pressure off Matt. I know we've had success. He's still going to be in my ear, but I don't have to have him call plays. I think that's a good mature thing for Aaron to do, and I think they win this game outright. Buffalo has struggled against good defenses. Josh just completed 30% of his passes last week. So I'm going to go with the Jets. If they win this game, they get back and hold a piece of first place in the AFC East. Huge game for both teams here, and I'm going to go with the Jets.